Hello, to those who will be joining us today, we hope you enjoy our presentation. We've all read The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volumes 1 and 2, so we should be familiar with the authors, their characters, and the storylines. Our group members consist of me, Jamie, Nate, and Eric. The book that we will be presenting our material on and focusing on today is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Black Dossier. There will be 3 parts to this presentation. First, I'll explain the structure of the book and how it's similar and different than the first 2 volumes. Then I'll go and explain the plot of the novel so you'll understand a little bit about what's going on. The second part will be presented by Nate. He will show you a timeline of events and focus on the intertextuality within the novel and the text within the Black Dossier. The third part will be presented by Eric. He'll focus on the critical analysis and response as well as the history of the novel. Let's get started. All you have to do is sit back and follow along. The Black Dossier has a couple of characters that we're already familiar with. However, there are also many other characters that are introduced in this novel. I'll go into detail about that once we get to the second part. Here, we start off with a scene that introduces Jimmy Bond and a mystery woman. Just like the first 2 novels, it's structured just like a comic book. Then we're introduced to the main characters of the novel. Do they look familiar? As you read through, you'll see the authors use a lot of creativity in this novel. The second volume that we've read had some sexual content. However, this one is saturated with them. Look towards the bottom right. Mina is about to read the Black Dossier. This is one thing that differs from the first 2 volumes. Every time that they're about to read the Black Dossier, the narrative gets interrupted by the contents of the Black Dossier, and we get to read right along with them. It's an interesting way to structure a novel because they aren't telling us what they've just read. Instead, we get to read the content and evaluate it for ourselves. Some of the contents inside the Black Dossier are the life of Orlando, Fanny Hill, and as you go through, you'll keep seeing that the novel gets interrupted about 3 times throughout the novel. And then they also show some contents of the Nautilus. Here's a map of the Blazing World. And then there are also contents about the League itself within the novel. There's a lot of different texts within the Black Dossier, but that will be extended later once Nate talks about that. Towards the middle of the novel, we get to read postcards. I wondered why the authors did this. In a way, it's pretty effective because you get personally involved. It seems that not only do the characters evolve over time, but so does the structure of the novel. The most interesting part I found was the 3D part that involved these little spectacles. It's included right in the book. You get the 3D glasses and it's included right in the book. Toward the end of the novel, you find yourself needing them because the last few pages are all 3D. Even though it strains the eyes a little bit, it's also pretty cool to see what you're reading in 3D. Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill had a lot of fun with this graphic novel, as you can tell. The structure was fun to read because you were almost visually involved. I hope you enjoyed this, and next we'll be going on to the narrative itself, and I'll be telling you a little bit about what's going on.